What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be drafting second overall. So should be pretty interesting. And while we wait to make our pick, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section your thoughts along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. We are on the clock, second overall. And here, Justin Jefferson has been selected, so we're going to go with Austin Ekeler. Look, I've said it before. I think that when you are picking early on, especially within the first couple of selections, that the running back position still has to be prioritized. This is full PPR scoring. Austin Ekeler, I believe, alongside Christian McCaffrey, is the top running back to own this season in that tier 1 category. And look, I think it's splitting hairs whether you go with Ekeler, whether you go with Christian McCaffrey. For what it's worth, long term, if we're talking about 2024 onwards, Christian McCaffrey will be a little bit more valuable, but this is redraft. This is just 2023. So I think Ekeler and McCaffrey are right there next to each other. Notice I did not take a wide receiver. I did not take a pass catcher. I would say, me personally, if this is August, September, that this is how I would treat a real draft. Now, sure, a lot of people have been taking pass catchers very, very early on, whether that's Justin Jefferson, Kelsey, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase. I'm going against, the grain, if you will, but it was just last year. Let's not forget, the running back position is not going away. There's a lot of injuries at that position. There's a quick drop-off, much quicker compared to wide receiver in tiers, things like that. So we're going with the running back position. But after having gone on that soliloquy, let's look at what has actually happened so far. Justin Jefferson went at the 1, then Ekeler, then Travis Kelsey. A trend we've been seeing more and more, honestly, where Kelsey has been a top 5, a top 6 pick, especially in these drafts where it's smaller leagues, like 10 teams, something like that. But we're going to quickly sidetrack here, make a selection because we're back on the clock, and I'm going to make a quick pick of probably Garrett Wilson here. I want to get that wide receiver. Tony Pollard was also very, very tempting, who actually just got selected, but that's okay. We've got a lot of other choices here at running back or wide receiver if we really wanted to do it, which we're back on the clock right now. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, Jalen Waddle here is pretty tempting. So is Travis Etienne. But again, we got Austin Ekeler, right? So I feel a little bit better if we hold off on the running back position and just continue to add wide receivers. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go with Jalen Waddle, I think, opposite Tyreek Hill in a very good situation. Just look at last year. But let's break down the picks. So we had Travis Kelsey being picked 3rd overall, then Cooper Kupp. So I like to see Cooper Kupp being drafted ahead of Jamar Chase. Christian McCaffrey drops to 5th. That is a crime. Great value there. Then Jamar Chase at 6th. Bijan Robinson at 7th. I think he's going to be a stud in PPR formats. Tyreek Hill at 8th. Derrick Henry going 9th overall. I don't like that, especially when guys like Saquon Barkley was available. And a lot of other running backs as well, honestly. So then Barkley goes at 10. Devontae Adams with the first pick in the 2nd, followed by Stephon Diggs. Nick Chubb with the 3rd in the 2nd. Jonathan Taylor drops to the 2nd round, 4th pick. How much of that is with him requesting a trade as of the other day? I don't know, but that'll be something to monitor. Ultimately, I don't think he ends up moving. Just curious to see if he ends up holding out, something like that. That will be a big story to monitor because, up until now, he was being drafted as a top 10 running back, right? Then Amon-Ra St. Brown with the 5th pick in the 2nd, followed by A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. I was hoping CeeDee Lamb would fall to me. Doesn't happen, but great value there with the 7th pick in the 2nd round. Patrick Mahomes, I hate that selection, but I'm glad somebody made that what I would call an idiotic choice right before us because that allowed Garrett Wilson to drop to us, who we got 9th overall. Tony Pollard was the other guy on my list that I would have potentially really liked to pair with Austin Ekeler. But again, we went with wide receiver. I'm not mad at it, especially when we have a guy that Austin Ekeler can hold down the fort, right? Josh Jacobs then with the first pick in the third. We went Jalen Waddle, so continue to add wide receivers. Joe Mixon, Breece Hall. I've said Breece Hall is pretty much on my do not draft list when it comes to running backs coming off that ACL. Josh Allen, then Jalen Hurts with the 5th and 6th pick in the third round. I wouldn't pick the quarterback position that early, especially when you have guys like an ETN still available, who I was also considering with my pick in the third round. Then Ramondre Stevenson with the 8th pick in the third round. Ramondre is an interesting guy. The Patriots have been rumored to be adding, potentially veteran running backs in Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette. So that's something to keep, in the back of your mind. Najee Harris, then DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith. Chris Olave with the 3rd pick in the 4th round is an absolute steal. Good on the person that got him. Deebo Samuel, Jahmyr Gibbs, Aaron Jones, and Dameon Pierce. So right now, we've kind of caught up with the picks, right? So Keenan Allen just went, ooh, that was my guy. That was the guy that I was hoping would fall to me. But doesn't break our way. He would have been a tremendous value pick at the end of the 4th round. I'm looking at running backs here. I do want to add a running back. I think that Miles Sanders is the guy that I'm going to go after. You guys know that I'm a big fan of his. I think that he's going to have a very, very good year in 2023. I'm looking at wide receivers. Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley is still there. Ranked a little bit lower here on these rankings, but of course, as soon as I say that, he gets selected, right? It's okay. We're going to get our guys. So, the team picking first overall, they ended up getting a running back. So it could have been a Miles Sanders selection, right? I'm not mad at myself for passing up on Calvin Ridley. So we're looking at wide receivers. I'm looking at the situation here. I don't mind Amari Cooper. I think that's a pretty good value pick. I'm going to wait on tight end. I'm going to continue to just add value picks. Amari Cooper as your flex play, I think that's a pretty solid situation. We passed up on Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. I'm kind of out on Mark Andrews. I think that he's a little bit too inconsistent for my liking. So I would rather just look elsewhere. TJ Hawkinson at this point is a pretty good value. I mean, fifth pick in the 5th round. And you just saw TJ Hawkinson got picked before Mark Andrews. I mean, for what it's worth, Andrews did go the pick immediately afterwards. But let's see if we get lucky and Kittle or Pitts or Goddard fall to us in the 6th round. If that happens, I'd be pretty excited. But it's still a little bit too early for that. Joe Burrow was just selected afterwards. I think we got good value, all things considered, on Amari Cooper. Like, if this thing had panned out ideally, I would have picked Keenan Allen at the end of the 4th, and then in the 5th round, if he was there, I would have picked Miles Sanders. So that was the ideal scenario. Doesn't exactly go that way. We still get one of the guys in Miles Sanders, and then we get Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley was also on that list, but he went between those 2 picks, those Sanders picks in between our selections. But, other than that, this draft has been pretty normal. We've seen some early selections of quarterbacks, which is going to happen now. I don't endorse it, but it is what it is. You guys know my thoughts on that. Why pick a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round when you can get a Lamar Jackson? I mean, look, Lamar Jackson's still available right now with the last pick in the 5th round. He just went there. You could get a Justin Herbert, a Trevor Lawrence, a Justin Fields later on. Darren Waller just went with the first pick in the 6th round. Interesting. I would be picking those other tight ends that I had mentioned before, Pitts, Goddard, etc., above Waller. I still like Darren Waller. I just think that I just don't believe in Daniel Jones as a passer, but that's just me. Alexander Madison is now going, so cleaning up on some of these other starting running backs. I'd imagine that James Conner is going to follow suit next. Alvin Kamara is still there, so a lot of really good value here at the running back position remains. Let's see what is going to be available to us in 6 picks. I'm looking at the board. DJ Moore is still there, right? We've got James Conner. We have got those quarterbacks that I mentioned. We've got the tight ends. There could be a run here on one of those positions within the next 4 selections, but we've kind of gotten lucky. It's been Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson. There goes DJ Moore. Okay. So he will not be an option for us. That's all right. We've done a good job of loading up on wide receivers with Wilson, with Waddle, a lot of really young, talented wide receivers there. And then we got Amari Cooper, a proven vet, with Deshaun Watson, full offseason, right? I think that's going to be good for us. Justin Fields just went, so we miss out on him, but that's okay. There's still a lot of really good quarterbacks, folks. Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. We are guaranteed to get one of those. So as long as this pick isn't a quarterback, which it isn't, it's James Conner. A little bit bummed out at that. I was hoping to get him as a depth piece, but that's okay because we will at least get our choice of tight end. So it pays off to be kind of patient with that position. I'm going with either George Kittle or Kyle Pitts. I'm going to go with Kittle. I'm personally a believer in Kittle. I liked what I saw with Purdy and Kittle, that connection once Purdy took over in San Francisco. I think he is that safety blanket for him. I think he's a big red zone threat. I think he gives you a higher floor than that of Kyle Pitts. But hey, that's just me. I don't think you can go wrong either way. Alvin Kamara just gets selected. Interesting. Okay, so I was hoping he'd be there for us so we can, have depth at that running back position, but isn't the case. Let's get our quarterback now. I think at this point, it's a good spot to do so. And we're going to have our choice between Herbert, Watson, and Lawrence. I'm going personally Justin Herbert. I like that stack of Herbert and Austin Eckler. I believe in that offense. And we're pretty much guaranteed to get points anytime the Chargers score, because it's either going to be at the running back position, that's probably going to be Eckler, or it's going to be Herbert throwing the football. So I really, really like that stack right there. I feel good about that. And yeah, we waited until the 7th round to get our quarterback, and it's Justin Herbert, who I think is very, very talented. If Alvin Kamara was there, he would have been tempting, but that would have meant we would not have probably landed one of those quarterbacks. But hey, look, our starting roster is taken care of. It is as follows: Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, George Kittle, Amari Cooper. So we can at least kind of give this thing a grade. And as far as starting rosters are concerned, I'm pretty happy with this, honestly. Now it's just a matter of adding depth with our next couple of picks. And I do think we can do some damage here. We'll make probably 2 more selections and round this thing out, because I think afterwards it's probably going to get to a point where there's some more auto picks, where there's some other positions being reached on. So let's see what happens. And for what it's worth, Trevor Lawrence is still available. So whoever gets him is getting a tremendous value pick there. So, but that's, a story for another time. Let's look at what we have working for us. J.K. Dobbins is still available. And even though I'm not a J.K. Dobbins believer, at this point, at the end of the 8th round, if he's there, I'm going to think about it, right? I have said there's certain guys, do not draft list, etc. But, truly, if you think about it, there's nobody that's 100% do not draft, because at some point, if you're just giving a late round pick investment in them, then it's fine. But J.K. Dobbins gets selected with the 4th pick in the 8th round. Good value for him there if he pans out, right? Trevor Lawrence did get selected, so our drafting of Herbert, I think, paid off. Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman, and Brandon Cooks just went. So here I'm looking at, let's quickly look at all the positions. Brendan Ayuk, I think, is a good value pick at this point in time, continuing to load up on some of these, just good pieces. But James Cook, I'm going to go for the upside at the running back position. We need some depth there. I'm looking at other wide receivers. Jordan Addison is somebody that I like. I've been on record saying that. Michael Thomas, tempting if he pans out. He does get picked right here with the 10th pick in the 8th round. So wasn't meant to be, right, I guess. But I like either Jordan Addison right now or Samaje Perine. We just went running back, so let's go with Jordan Addison to get a little bit more value. Brendan Ayuk is still there. But I just don't think Addison will fall to us. But yeah, I'm just going to go in the high upside rookie here. So we're going to go Jordan Addison, and we're kind of going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to queue up a couple of names here at running back. I'm going to queue up Samaje Perine. Let's see what else we're working it with at wide receiver. I'm looking at some of these other names, kind of scrolling down the list. Tight end, I feel good about, but let's take a look at tight end, right? If there's something that we're kind of overlooking, Njoku, not a bad choice, Greg Dulcich. But that's kind of it. Hopefully you guys thought this was, useful, enjoyable. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section, do you agree, disagree, along with any of the questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.